Thank you so much. I hope you love the film as much as we do here, and I'm very pleased to bring back to the stage Bertrand Bonello. So I'm going to ask a few questions, and then we can open it up to the audience. I have to say the last shot is very Bonellian, even though you talked about a new direction. The use of the music with the face of the young girl is completely your world. So it's not a huge change of direction in a way, because it's still your world.
Well, I think, yes, you try to change and you do not change. That's the problem of neurosis, I guess.
You talked a little bit in the introduction about shooting outside of France for the first time, and specifically in Haiti. So can you talk a little bit more, or like working there would maybe influence your creative process, or like move you in that direction of working on this film and developing the story?
It's not that much that you change your working process. It's just that you ask yourself questions that you do not ask yourself usually. Shooting abroad, and especially in a country like Haiti, you have to all the time ask, am I at the good place, the good distance? How I am of course, as a white person, French person, going there and doing a film that talks about zombies and voodoo is very delicate. So as soon as you start to think about the film, the writing, the first question is, what's going to be my point of view on this story? Because the starting point of the film was really the zombie part. And then I had to find my place, my position, and my point of view, and it had to be French. It had to be from France. That's why I invented the whole part of the film, which is the major part. It's 2/3, and then when you arrive in Haiti for your first trip, it's very delicate to say, okay, I'm French. I would like to do a film on that subject. They're, of course, very, sensitive about the subject, and they, of course, they are right. So you have to explain your point of view, why you're doing it, and to get accepted. That was the first thing. And this matter of where you find the good distance, you ask yourself all the time. It's on the casting, on the direction, on the clothes, on the camera, not too far, not too close. If you're too far, you don't see anything. You're like a tourist. If you're too close, you pretend to be like an Haitian guy. It's this point of view and distance question. It's the same in the editing. So it's not changing the process. It's just you have questions that appears and you have to answer them all the time that you don't think when you shoot in your country.
Yeah. So you shot the part in Haiti. It's hard to say in French with H. Haiti.
No, I wanted to do that. I wanted to shoot first the Asian part, then the French part. So I would come back in France with full of something, But for some reasons, Haiti had a strong year, very difficult year with a lot of struggles last year. So we couldn't. We had to change the schedule. So I shot first the French part, then I edited it. Then we went to shoot the Haitian part and failed, and redone the editing, which was good also because when we arrived in Haiti, we really knew what we needed to fill the holes.
And when you were editing, after editing the first part, and then you added this, you knew you were going to reverse like the French story, the girls, it's pretty linear, but then the Asian story is reverse. It goes back. So when did you decide to work like this in the editing?
In fact, the film is very, very, very close from the script. Mm-hmm. I think there are only 2 shots that I put in another order, but it's very, very close from the script. And I edited almost everything I shot. I think there are only like 3 or 4 shots that I did that are not in the film. As the film was shot in 4 weeks, I had to be very, very precise on my shot list and what I was searching.
And when you were editing and rewatching the film, at what point did you realize that it was really a really, I would say, strong political statement on the history of France and colonization and slavery, and also the identity of whiteness today, and how you identify yourself with your skin color as a young girl and back from the past. So when did that become clear that it was also a political film?
Some part of it were clear at the beginning. For example, the fact that, okay, the idea of the film is you take a very famous figure, like almost a pop figure, like the Zombi, you take it back to its origin, and by this movement, you're doing an evocation of slavery. That was very clear from the beginning. After, when I found this boarding school, which I was not aware of, I was just searching on internet, boarding school today, girl, something like that. And
you didn't get in trouble for that?
No, not yet. Maybe. And I discovered this school, which is in Saint-Denis, which is like a tough suburb of France, And I didn't invent anything. Everything you see on the film about this boarding school, it's what's happening now in 2019. It's like, time stopped. And the fact that it was created by Napoleon and that the relationship between Napoleon and Haiti and Napoleon's slavery is very important, of course, it brought another level. Then I had this scene with Patrick Boucheron, the historian, which is quite famous in France, very famous, and becomes famous in America too, because he's doing a lot of conferences and lectures. He's a huge historian. I didn't write the scene. It's the only thing I didn't write. I just gave him like the direction I wanted. I say, okay, do your lesson, do what you want, but it should be around the 2 movements of freedom in the 19th century, just post-revolution. And the lesson he did, of course, brought the film even higher on the political level. And it's incredible because, in a way, he's giving a light on all the film and on many levels when he says, how can we tell a story? Can we tell a story in a straight way, or do you have to be more subtle? It's exactly what I did. And he finishes the lesson by, what is an experience of freedom? What is an experience? Let's make one. It's exactly what the girl is going to do later. So even, I could have stopped the shoot there. The film is in the history lesson. And then I realized, sometimes it's when the film is finished that you really realize what the subject is. When a film is finished, yourself, you've not finished with the film, And probably that I realized that the heart of the film was about the transmission of freedom. And what do you do with your history? It can be your personal history, like for this young girl, she's the granddaughter of a zombie. What does she do with that? She don't really know, as she says at the end of the film. It can be the history of the Haitian people, which is a very strong history, and I think they do know what to do with their history, even if it's really tough. But it can be even for us, French people, as the Patrick Boucheron says. Okay, we invented revolution. The concept of freedom is very French, and we know that. But have we been good enough on that? Have we, what do you do with your own history?
Well, that's opened a lot of questions.
Yes, I think the film is made of 2 very simple stories. One is the story of Clairvius, which is quite simple,
Was it the basis for making the film? It's
yes,
reading
the starting
book.
point. Yeah. The starting point was the book and articles I read about him. And the other story is the sorrow of that young girl, which is very, very simple. And when you mix them, when you put them together, there is some more complex stuff that appear. And I liked this feeling. Some of the stuff I was really aware of, and some appeared, after the film. I saw them after the film.
We talked about all the serious issues, but the movie is also quite funny at times.
I hope so.
I mean, I think it is all the thing with the young girls and the identification with rap music when they're like clearly privileged, like white girls, like singing this crazy respect them so, and the way they talk to each other, the way like bringing her in the sorority. So there's a lot of things things I haven't really seen in your film before, and I think the dialogues are very light and entertaining, and there's a lot of like a light side to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating age. Probably I chose this age because I've got a daughter. It's just exactly the same age. And for example, I didn't know Damso, even though he's a huge star, but I didn't know. And when I like the idea that they're doing a sorority of literature, contemporary literature, and they go into rap music because, well, it is a writing, you know. So I was searching for an idea I couldn't find, and I went to see on Deezer to see what's the last song my daughter was listening to, and I discovered Damso. I was a little surprised that was the music she listens to. It's not my choice, but it's reality. So I said, okay, I'm going to take this song. And I realized that when I did the casting, I met like maybe 100 young girls. They all knew that song by heart, you know. And the lyrics, it's okay, no, it's okay. But now I have to say that I listen to it a lot. Oh, really? Yeah. And I sent him the script, and he was very happy that he's not the main character, but he's a real character in the film. And then, of course, I gave the script to my daughter, and she changed a few dialogues, saying that no, you cannot say that. That is so much 2016. So I wanted to be quite faithful to this kind of music, you know, of this youth that gives, of course, something very tender and funny at the same time. But it's in a way, it's when you shoot, you try to film a bunch of young girls. It's the point of view is another great question, you know, because I wanted to be close, but not in the middle, because you know I'm not a young girl. So you have to find the good distance to be close to them, and even when you direct them, you know, I'm not their father, I'm not their friend, I'm not an uncle. You have to find something, you know, which is very tender, but with some authority at the same time. It was a great time with them.
So you made two genre films. You made a zombie genre film and a
teen
girls, a teen movie.
Yeah, the film is quite, that's something I really wanted from the beginning. It's to make something quite hybrid, you know? So it starts with a teen movie genre, then goes into another genre movie, but inside of it you have some ethnological scenes, like the ceremony or some scenes in Haiti, or even documentary scenes, like the history lesson. And yeah, I liked this freedom of, you know, moving from a genre to another.
I also want to ask one last question before we open it up. It's cinematography on the film. You work with a new cinematographer for this film, I believe, Yves Cape?
Yves Cape, yes.
Cape.
In fact, when the sound engineer I work with read the script, he told me, this is a film from Yves Cape. So, okay, I knew Yves from name, from reputation.
He did White Material.
He did White Material, he did a lot of all the first Bruno Dumont's film, but at the same time he's doing some big comedies or some art films with Pierre Huyghe, you know, and yes, Yves is very, very good to shoot without any lighting, and it was a very small set. And so there is, as a light, there's nothing's done with natural light, and he's very good to catch stuff like that. And he was okay to go in Haiti in tough conditions. And
I was wondering if you were going to use two DPs for like the two countries and then change it back, but I think it works really well like this.
Yeah, I prefer to have the same DP. Yeah, even though I thought the two shootings like two different shootings, it's the same crew, and except that in Haiti we had a lot of Haitian technicians.
We can take questions from the audience, and we have microphones. There's someone here, and there's a microphone coming to you, sir. Yeah, sorry. Thanks.
Could you talk about the casting in Haiti? The people, how did you find the people? Did you hire a casting?
In Haiti?
Yes.
Yes, the Haitian producer, Getty, she said, okay, try to meet first actors before you go and search people in the street, because they don't work much, and it's important that we make, So she introduced me to, she did the casting with my Asian assistant and proposed me she made some proposition. So they are actors, and the aunt is also an actor that we found in Port-au-Prince and made her come to Paris. What was quite interesting is when I told, I don't know, I met maybe 30 people for the role of Clairvius, and when I said, okay, it's about a zombie, and they all did the zombie in the same way. They knew how it walks, how it looks, the funny sound they make, quite it's something very deep inside their history, I didn't direct them because, in a way, they know better than me how to do that, So basically in Haiti it was a very normal casting, you do auditions, and you work with people, and then you choose one. But they brought a lot because they knew stuff that I didn't know.
There's a question over here, and the microphone is ready.
Could you talk a little bit more about Fanny and so her position in the film? You treated her so kindly, and I loved that, and there's an innocence to her, but at the same time, she's the one who has the kind of closest encounter with the colonial history, and both purchases it, but is also sort of innocent, so...
Yes, but you got it totally right. I mean, the answer is almost in the question, Of course, she's doing something that is not very correct, but it's just more innocent and naive than mean, And I wanted to have this look on her. It's just a lack of knowledge, and to just think that because you're in pain, because you have money, because you can pay something, because you can just go into another culture. And the aunt, she starts to explain that to her, and then at the end she's just moved by her sorrow, because she's just moved. She has the same age than Melissa, and she's she says yes, and maybe she should have said no, but there is something more naive than mean on her gesture and on her thoughts.
Thank you for the film, and thank you for being here. I was curious to hear your thoughts on the music in the film. More specifically, it seems like the music has a role of bringing the characters together, whether it be the girls or the living and the dead. I'm curious to know what you were going for with the music that the audience hears.
The choice of the music?
Yeah. Specifically the soundtrack.
The score, not the songs. Well, I do my own score, which is easy because I agree with myself. I don't argue with the musician. And for me, it's something I do very, very early during the writing process, when I write the script. And when I feel that I would need some music at one point when I write a scene, I just stop writing. I go into my studio and I start to find the color, and then I go back writing, and it's just back and forth. And usually when the script is finished, the music is finished. And for this film, I had very simple stuff. A theme for the boarding school with the voices of a girl, which can remind some stuff of the 70s, of Dario Argento, stuff like that. And something in Haiti that I wanted more deep, like very minimal electro with a lot of silence that could, we could hear the sounds of the country also. And that's basically how I, divided the score.
There was a question here. Yes, there's a question here.
Congratulations. I'm curious about how you chose to end the film where you did, because in a way, in more classical films like that, the character is possessed and now she's going to kill everyone or eat everyone. And you choose to end it exactly, and there's this beautiful shot where we follow her and she's going back into the dorms and we're all thinking, I think something's going to happen. And then you end it, which is kind of frustrating in a way, but I guess that was a conscious decision. I'd just like to know more about that.
Yeah, well, in Voodoo possession, it's not for ages. When someone gets possessed by a spirit, it's like, a couple of hours, not more than that. And I use this like the same, and it's just when the possession goes away, it's just like a huge hangover in a way, And yes, she goes back. She don't really understand what happened, but I still wanted to have a positive note on the ending of the film. That's why I have, Clairvius finding back his wife, saying this sentence, "I won't be a slave again." And even for Melissa, who lost her father, her mother, and then their aunt, I wanted to give her, a chance. That's why I used this song, "You never walk alone," and maybe there is a light at the end of the night. I didn't choose this song just because I'm a fan of the Liverpool fan club. It's just there is a meaning in the text, in the lyrics that I try to give a chance to the girl.
I think we can take first one here.
Hi, I had a question about the photography in some of the Haiti sequences. If it was day for night, it looked like that to me. And if so, I was curious if this was just because of practical reasons, or if it was kind of reveal the state of being a zombie, or both.
Yeah, it's for many reasons. First of all, yes, a lot of sequences were night sequences, and of course, it would be hell to light that because electricity in Haiti is complicated, and even if you light it, you lose something that I really wanted. It's the mountains. Haiti means mountains, and so very quickly the DP proposed me day for night, and we made some tests, and I said, okay, but I don't want it to pretend to be. Let's make it really unreal, and we decided to call this electronic night. And what I liked about this idea is, in a way, what is a zombie in this film, not in Romero's film, and it's someone that is between life and death, and between day and night, and we found this kind of aesthetic, which is unreal. It's a kind of unreal light, it's not real day for night that pretends it's night, and I think it was perfect with the state of the zombie.
And there's a question here. Yes.
Hi, I'm curious, what did you realize throughout the process about your own biases or preconceived notions with the country or the culture, and when it was over, when the process was finished, were you still comfortable with all of your initial intentions?
I think so. I think so, but I wasn't sure. So when I finished the editing, I have a few Haitian friends in Paris, and I wanted to show the film quite quickly to discuss with them. And yes, I'm okay with my intentions now. Yeah.
And there's another question in the back.
Hi. In a way, this is kind of like, this is a horror film, obviously, and I wanted to know who some of your influences were, if any. The scenes in the girls' locker room when they were walking around is very steamy, sort of in slow motion. And that whole scene, it really reminded me of the scenes in the girls' locker room in Brian De Palma's Carrie. That's what I thought of right away. And I was wondering if that was an influence, or if not, did you have any influences when you shot this?
Probably it's a film I've seen many times, and when you take like young girls and you put them in a bathroom with some steam, okay, you still, well, but okay, you say it's a horror film, but for me it's a horror film not that much in that level. It's the horrific part of the film. It's basically that it's about slavery. The rest, it goes, of course, it flirts with genre movie, but it has a distance with that. Maybe except the possessions sequence at the end, but it's the only one.
Okay. There's a question there, and that's
Good
going to be the
evening.
last question.
As probably the only Haitian person in the room, and I feel like I need to interject a little bit in everything that we're hearing about the fact that this is a horror film, or the young lady who talked about expecting an ending where the young woman was going to like eat up everyone. And I take total offense into that, because I don't think that Bertrand was setting out to make a horror film. I think he was setting out to make a more humanist film, and a film that allows for France to have a real conversation with Haiti. And if you know Haiti's history, you know that it was an ancient French colony. It is the first Black republic. It is the country that took its freedom from Napoleon's regime. And I am not in a horror film when I see this film. I see a film that's trying to create a dialogue from the old colony to the new country. And if you think that Haiti is a place where people go out and eat people in the night, I take deep offense into that. And as the young woman says in the film, that voodoo is beautiful. This woman went through a possession. She did not go through a place of like evil and demonic. And I just really wanted to clarify that. There's definitely different genres that we're playing with, but we're not in a horror film. We're in a very humanist film of creating a conversation. Excuse me? It has horror elements, but it's not a horror film. And there is a difference between that. And let's be clear about that. Haiti is not a horrific place. Okay, so we're going to be very clear about that.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing and enlightening that really it's a movie about the dialogue and also about trying to revisit what would have happened and how we could move forward. I think that we could agree on that.
Yes, as I told previously, what do we do with our history, personal or more general history, which is a question that French. I mean, everything is in Patrick Boucheron's lesson, which is fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Bertrand, for showing the film.
Thank you very much.